Okay, so I was able to play around and get my bow the way I liked, and I've added the binder piece. For now, it's just clipped to the back. So I did add a little glue as well to hold my bow in place. And you just wrap the binder and it meets in the back here, just like this. And we're just going to clip it for now because we're going to install it on our flap. Okay, so I'm just going to set this aside for a minute while we work on our handle. So I have my flat pieces out because we're going to use those soon too. So when I talked about the materials, I only set one piece for the handle, but it's actually two. So I'll just make a note on that in video on that part. But you should have two pieces cut for your handle. I've added some double-sided tape here along with the marks that are mentioned in the pattern because we're going to fold these raw edges in. So I'm going to take the first piece and just remove the backing off my double-sided tape. And we're just going to do much like we've done with the other pieces that we needed to to fold in the raw edges. So we're going to fold in toward to meet those marks that we made. Okay. And you can use glue as well. Okay, so I'm just folding in. Okay. Starting with these long edges here. Okay. And then we're going to bring this short edge in toward this line here that we have here. Okay. And just like before, we're going to pinch these right in the corner here. Okay, right where the corners meet here. And it should pinch just like that. Okay. So get them as close as possible. So again, we're bringing the short end over and right up to the line. And then we're bringing that in. Right. Just like that. Okay. So it looks a little funny like that. Okay. And we'll do the same thing to this one. And if you feel you need to, you can add a piece of Decaville light to the center of one piece of your handle if you feel it needs the extra strength. I'm not going to. This is it's doubled up, and I think that should be fine. Because I may keep this one myself. And I don't usually grab by the handle too much. But if I made one for a client, I probably would just add a little extra strength there. Okay, so I'm just pinching it in toward the, there we go. And we'll do this next one here. Just right where they meet up. Okay. So now we're going to snip that off like we've done before. The same thing on this side. Okay. And you should have no raw edges there. And we'll do the same thing here. Snip. And snip. Snip. That one flew. Okay, so now we have that. What we're going to do is we're going to put them together. Wrong sides together. We're going to match everything up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a piece of double-sided tape along the center. So this is wrong sides. Okay. And I'm just going to match it up here. Making sure those points meet up. And that all the sides match up nicely. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. So now that I have that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark an inch in on each side. Okay. So mark them. We're going to top stitch from that point to that point. So we're not going to go past those 1 inch marks. So 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to top stitch. Okay, so just drop your needle down and at the mark, and I'm going to tie the ends off to the back. Oops. That tail wanted to come along for the ride. Okay. Okay. And now we'll do the other side as well. Leave it a little bit longer there. Okay, so you should have it top stitched just like that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to secure these ends, and then we'll proceed to the next step. And we're going to get ready to add the handle to our flap. And the bow is coming up, so we'll see what that looks like. Okay, so I'll be back after I get through securing these ends. Okay, so I have gone ahead and I tied off those ends, those thread ends. And I just want to show you a nice little option. You can add these strap ends. They're not in the pattern. It's just, I just like a little extra bling, so I added them. And it's just, like I said, it's a nice little option. So you can get, these are 1 inch. So now I'm going to go ahead and add the handle on to the flap. So take one of your flap pieces, whichever piece you have designated for the front. or the exterior, I should say. And there's these marks on the pattern piece, and make sure you add those marks onto your flap. I've added, so you have the marks for the handle and you have marks where you're going to put your bow. So I have gone ahead and placed those marks onto one part of my flap. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead, and this is where the flap will go. So, I mean, the handle will go. So you're going to place your handle. So one in here, and then the other end will go like that. And we're going to sew it on. Now, I can't go all the way to the end, obviously, because I have these metal pieces on. So I'm just going to make a smaller little square there. And then I'm also going to add a rivet just for extra. That's also optional. So, so you don't have to do that part. But so let's just go ahead. I'm just making sure that I'm placing the handle in the right place. Okay, correct. So the short end will go here. Okay. I had to just double check and make sure I was placing the handle right. So that 1 inch line that you made on your handle, where you start and stop your stitching, that is the line that you're going to match up with the line that you mark on your flap. So it should go right on top of that line, just like that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just add a little bitty piece of double-sided tape on the back, just a small little piece here, right within that 1 inch there, just like that. And I do another on the other side, just to hold it in place. Just hold it there. Okay. And then line up. So I have a 1 inch mark there, and I put it there. And then the other. Okay, so it lines up right there. Okay, so that's essentially, and just make sure that it's, I'm just going to make sure that they're the same distance from the top. Okay, so this one needs to move just a little bit. And move this too. Okay, so the 1 inch right there. There we go. Just making sure that they're the same distance. Okay. Alrighty. So that's that right there. And I'll just double check here. And yeah, that's right. That's about right there. Exactly where it's supposed to go. I was just measuring my my pattern piece to see if it was the mark on the pattern piece that's in the same spot as I put the handle. Okay, so it is. So now I'm just going to stitch across here. If you do put these strap ends on, like I have, you may want to use your zipper foot, but I'm not going to. So, because I'm just going to I'm just going to go right up against the edge of my my hardware, and I'm just going to sew across. I'm going to go where I start and stop here and just go right around. Okay. Okay. Now, so that I don't scratch up my hardware, I'm just going to grab a little scrap. I have a little scrap here. Let's see. I'll grab a scrap of anything. But I'm going to use this little scrap of Decaville. Okay, just to put there so don't scuff up my hardware. Okay. I'm just going to hand crank it. Okay, so now I met up where I started. And I'm going to turn and sew across to the other side. Okay. And then go back where I came from there. Okay. And then back across. Go back. Okay. Maybe next. Dogs don't care if you're recording. Okay. So we have a little box there, and I'm going to add a rivet right in the middle of that box. So I'm going to go ahead and do this next side. Trying to get it right where I started. Okay. Go back. And back here to this side. Keep my strap, my handle down out of the way. And come across. Alrighty. Here we go. Alright. So now we have the box there. Just get my handle nice, pretty. Okay, so I'm going to just make a mark where I want to put my rivet. Like I said, just right in the center of that box. I'm going to put a piece of stabilizer also. So I'll just grab the little scrap I used of Decaville. And I just cut a couple of squares, small squares there. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead, punch some holes, add my rivets, and then we'll come back to add the bow. Got my rivets added to my handle. I really like the way that looks. So those marks we made for the bow, I've cut them open. Okay, so it's just, I just used my utility knife and just slit the marks open. Don't cut too wide. You want it a little snug. So remember, we have the binder piece. Which way is the front? I think I turned it around. Did I turn it around? Yeah. So this is the back of the bow. Okay, so we have this binder piece here, which we could add a little touch of glue there on the front too, so that it sticks. So I'm just using this Loctite super glue. So I'll just put a little dab there and just to hold that. Okay, and the tail ends are going to go in these slits we cut. Okay, so I'm just going to take one end and I'm going to feed it through to the back. And so I'm just holding because I don't want this to slip. So normally you would wait for your glue to dry a little, but okay. And then now I'm going to feed the other end through. Okay, so just get a little help from my pliers here to pull it through. There we go. Okay, so we're pulling it through to the back, and you're going to get it pretty snug, but not so snug that you cause your flap to buckle. Okay, this is so cute. I think it's so cute. Okay, so like I said, not too tight. You want it to, your flap to still lay. So, oh, I think that's going to be so cute. So now, she suggests that you glue, so you open up these ends back here like that, and then just add some glue. Okay, so you can just add a little glue or double-sided tape. I'm just going to add a touch of glue there. Touch. Oop, that was a little more than a touch. Okay. Let that hold for a minute. Press from this side. What we're going to do now is we're going to take the other part of our flap and we're going to add our magnetic snap. So you have the markings from the pattern piece, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the male portion of our snap on. So I'm going to grab that, grab my snaps here. And, you know, sometimes you try things and you don't like it, you know, and that's just the way it goes. But I'm just going to get the washers here, and that's just the way it goes. So I wouldn't call that one that idea a success, at least not the way I implemented it. Okay. So I'm just going to use the washers here to mark where I'm going to make the cuts for my snap. Okay. And go ahead and pop. And pop those in. I'm also going to add some stabilizer to the back. So I have a little Decaville heavy here that I'm going to add to the back. Because this, you pulling and opening and closing, it's going to get weaker over time. So a little stabilizer helps. Place that over and then add my washer and then fold. Oops. Okay, and then we'll add a little duct tape to the back. I think I still have a little COVID brain because I have been like moving crazy lately. If that's a thing. If it's not, I'm just making it up. Because that's what it seems like to me. But that's okay. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add the two flat pieces together, right sides together. And we're going to sew them at the marks we made, the 3/8 inch mark we made there. So now you have this handle, you have your bow, so you really have to squeeze it all in there. So let's just start clipping. I've wasted enough time unnecessarily. It happens. Come on, tell me I'm not the only one. I know I'm not. Not the only one to do something and then decide you don't like it, right? Okay. Especially when you're going against the pattern. So just trust the process. Trust the process. So I'm just tucking my bow in, making sure I do not sew over my pretty bow. I love my bow. Okay, matching it up. You can feel if it's under there. So I'm going to clip it real good down here where the bow wants to keep popping out. Okay. And then on the sides. This is why we put the stabilizer in after. Because can you imagine trying to turn this with the stabilizer and the bow? That would be crazy. Okay. Over here on this side. Feel my bow. Let me push it back some. Okay. Alrighty. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to sew that. We're going to leave this top part open, of course, to turn it out. Okay, so let's get going. Yeah, and if you drew your lines, it makes it so much easier. You don't have to worry about checking your seam allowance. You just stay on that line. And take your time going around those corners, those curves. Just go slow. Okay, when you get to the bottom here, make sure your bow is not in your seam allowance. Okay. You might need to lift it up a little. Okay. So keep your bow out of the way. It's gonna want to try to sneak on. Just keep it out of the way. Okay. Getting around. Just speed it up just a little. Okay. There we go. Alrighty. We made it. You put up with my foolishness. Okay. So flap is sewn. Now we can trim down the seam allowance some. You can use your pinking shears if you want. I'm just going to just trim it down. Make sure she just say, so does she say trim it? Trim it down. Notch the curves, turn. Okay. So she's just saying notch. I'm just going to trim down some of these curves here. Okay. You can notch them or you could trim them down a little. I'm just going to trim them down. Or like I said, you can use your pinking shears. Okay. Just gonna do just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to carefully turn this out. Okay. Push it. Because that bow is in there. That's some stuff. You want to be careful because it's tighter up here at the top. So just push it through. Don't pull, just push from the bottom. And just gently. Okay. I'm going to. Don't pull on your bow. And just push the seams out. So I'm just going to work my seams out. Get it all ready. Oh, that's looking so cute. Okay. Oh, that's looking so cute. I'm going to get ready to go and work the rest of my seams out. Then we'll come back and add the stabilizer. All right, so I have all my corners pushed out nicely. I really love the way the flap is coming along. I like the bow on there. And that's the back side with the snaps. So now we're just going to add our stabilizer. So remember we made these marks and we folded it so that our flap can take its shape, right? So we should have that creased. So we're going to start feeding it in. So I'm going to just roll this in gently and put it in and then start to unroll it. It should go in nicely. And just get it in there. Make sure it's in the seam, in front of the seams, on the top, on the exterior part. It should be in front of the seam allowance. Okay, get it in there good, nice and snug. Okay. And the creases. Okay. Alrighty. Oh. So there's one crease there. Just like that. Creases there. And then the other crease there. Just like that. So, right where the handle is. It's going to sit. Like that. Yes. You hear my daughter, Jayla? I love that she's not afraid to comment. But you know what? I did miss a step, and I'm so sorry. But, wait. No. Did I miss a step? I did miss a step. Okay. But it's no worries. Before I sewed the flaps together, I was supposed to trim a 1/2 inch off. Off the back piece, so that this gets folded over and then you don't see any raw edge there on there. So sorry. I'll make a note of that. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that off now. Got ahead of myself. I told you, I'm just like, you know, please forgive me. It's just been, you know, with me getting sick, and then some of my kids got sick, and I'm still trying to keep plugging along, but you know, that's it. Life goes on. So you have to keep moving. So I'm just marking my 1/2 inch here so I know where to trim. And but just forgive me in all my flaws today. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim that. Trim that down. I mean, that's why we drew the line, right? And that's supposed to be on the back side, I believe. Let me make sure. What? Yes, on the back side. On the side with the snaps. So I should have trimmed this off. Okay, so if you're following along with me, please forgive me. But you see, it's not an extremely difficult fix. Okay. That's how I justify my mistake. By telling you it's not hard to fix it. Okay, so now you should have it looking like this on the back. And we're going to add a piece of double-sided tape. Okay, after we've inserted our stabilizer. So we'll add a piece of double-sided tape here. And we're going to fold that over. Okay. Like I said. Alrighty. Fold it over. Okay. So normally I like to do a run through of a pattern before I do a video. But since I was not feeling well, I did not get a chance to do this one beforehand. So, but I mean, other than just me doing my own foolishness, I mean, it is not a difficult pattern at all. Okay, so we're going to fold that over. Fold it over. Okay. Fold it all over there. Just like that. Okay. And it should look nice and pretty from the top. Okay, so now you'll see that there's no, and this will not show when we stitch it onto the back of the bag. You won't see this at all. Okay, so that being said, we have our stabilizer in. We've done that. Now we're going to top stitch, and we're going to start here. We're going to start right up here at the top. We're going to stop top stitch 1/8 of an inch all the way around and stop up here. Do not top stitch this part just yet. Okay, so let's do that. Move all my clips and doodads out the way. Okay. Let me just check my bobbin. believe I got enough. Would hate to run out of bobbin on my flap. Okay. Okay. So now here we go. Top stitching. So starting here. Okay. I'm not going to back stitch. I'm just gonna go right along. Make sure you move the flap tails, the bow tails out of the way. Alright, we made it around. Okay. Okay, yeah. That's looking so cute. So cute. Okay, so let me pull these back quickly. And tie them off. And we'll get ready to add this to our bag. Like I said. Okay. So let me grab our exterior. So we're back with this again. Our exterior. We're going to go ahead and add it to the back. So she gives the placement for that. Let me just check. So, okay. So, remember we have our centers marked. And I'm going to make a line where we're going to place our flap. So, mark at the center right there. Okay. Okay, so it's gonna line up about right there. Okay. Right in there. Okay. There. Okay, and I'll kind of bring this in to note the center, and I'll just put a little marker there on my flap so I know where the center is. I'm going to add a piece of double-sided tape. Just to hold it in place. So with your exterior laying out like this, the flap will go here. So we have the center. Okay, so here's the center. There's my center. And there's my center. So just line it up right with the line there. And that should be about it right there. Okay. And we're just going to top stitch. We're going to top stitch right across the fold here, and then we're going to go down and then top stitch another row of top stitching 3/8 of an inch from the first row. Okay, so it's growing, it's getting bigger. Let's move some of this out of the way. Okay, so let's get this out of here. Oh, I'm gonna go this way. I think it's much better. Okay, so. Okay. Again, I'm just gonna pull my tails to the back. So. Okay. Now I'm gonna come down till I'm about 3/8. So just fold this up out of the way, and it's about 3/8 from. Let me go back just a little bit. Another. Right there. All right, that's about right. And then we're going to sew all the way across. Top stitch. Okay. Alrighty. And it should look like that. Across the top. I'm going to pull those tails to the back and tie them off. And I think I'm going to also add some rivets in the corner. That, again, that's optional. You don't have to. But I think it just adds to the structure. Make sure I'm pulling the right thread. Hard to do. There we go. And this one. Okay. And just tie these off together. Okay, and I'm going, like I said, I'm going to add some rivets in the corner here, just right there in between the stitches. Okay, I'm just making my mark there. Okay. Then after that, after I add the rivets there, we're going to come back and we're going to start putting the exterior together. We're going to sew up the sides. I think I'm also going to, when I return, I'll show you where I place my label, because I really think I need a label. So we will see. But it is coming together. I think it's going to look so good. All right, so I'll be back after I place those rivets. Okay, so I have added my rivets to my flap, and I've also decided to add the label to the back because the flap just doesn't need any competition. So now we're going to sew the sides up. So we're going to turn everything right sides together. And we're going to bring the sides together and match them up. And we're going to sew at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So matching up these sides. Okay. And it's going to really start looking like a bag here once we get these sides. So I'm going to just start with this side. Go ahead. Oops. I don't know how I cut myself, but I did. All right. So 1/2 inch seam allowance. I must have cut myself when I was doing that. My little utility knife is so sharp. When I was putting it back in putting the top back on, I think I clipped myself with it. I cut myself a little bit. Okay. So I don't have a Band-Aid. Ta-da! Double-sided tape. I mean, duct tape. I told you, today is a crazy day. Okay, so now we're going to do the other side. 1/2 inch. Okay. Let's flip it over this way. And we're going to trim that down to about 1/4 inch. So about by half. Okay. And now we're ready to do the bottom. Okay, so we're going, remember when I told you we marked these centers on all 4 sides of our bottom panel? That's why. So now we're going to match it up with these side seams. So we're going to match the center with the side seam. Then clip across. Okay, so it should look like that. And we're going to sew at 1/2 inch. Okay, don't mind if your stabilizer is slipping a little. Okay, I think this is the best way for me to go. Okay, so 1/2 inch. Okay. Alrighty. I check my bobbin. I think ran out of bobbin or really close. I'm just going to replace my bobbin real quick. And we're going to do the other side. So matching up the side seam, I'm just opening it up and matching it up with that center snip there. And then matching up the rest, the raw edge. And we'll do half an inch. I think my bobbin, let me just go back over this little piece. Let's see. My bobbin had broke. There you go. Just make sure. Making sure I didn't miss anything there. Okay. Okay, now we're going to trim that down to about 1/4 of an inch. Okay. Okay. Okay, and now we're going to turn it out carefully. Okay, just gonna push underneath, roll her around. Anything over here, push from the bottom. Push out those corners. Ooh, looking nice. Alrighty. Just my stabilizer in there. Get it back straight. Nice and smooth. Alrighty. Okay. That's looking nice. It's looking so cute. Okay, so that's coming together. All right, so now the next step is to get ready to add our connectors. So you're going to grab your bridge connectors. So we should have 2 of those. Okay. And we're going to measure 2.5 inches down. Okay, and we want to make sure so from the side seam, we're not going to place any holes in the seam. It's going to be just off the seam. So 2.5 inches, 2.5 inches down. Okay, place your mark. So I go this way, and I'm going to place my mark there. Okay, so we have that there. So I placed the mark there, and I did the same thing over here. Okay. So there we go. So now I'm going to use my connector to mark out where to place my holes. So I just need to take these screws out. Your connectors might go in a different way. They may have prongs. Just follow the instructions for your particular hardware. Okay, so I'm going to use the back of my connector to mark the hole placement. Okay. So let me grab my marking tool, and I'm going to lay that. Remember, not right in the middle of the seam, but off to the side. Off to the side there. So we don't want to break our stitches. Okay. So I have my marks there. My marks. And do the same thing on the other side. Okay. Let's see. We're gonna do one. Here. Okay, so now I have my marks. I'm gonna go ahead and punch my holes. I'm gonna add a piece of stabilizer behind these as well, and install my connectors. So let me just go ahead, see if I can get in here with my hole punch, which I think I should be able to. And that's one. And that's two. Okay, let me just get that on the other side. And there's one. And using to get the other. And two. Okay. So So I got my holes punched. Now I'm going to grab a piece of stabilizer, a couple of pieces of stabilizer. Okay. And okay. I'm going to mark the hole placements there as well. Ooh, I can't believe this year is almost over. It's crazy. It's just going by so fast. Seems like we just got started. Okay. So I am going to. So what I like to do is I just place the back piece of the hardware over the stabilizer and then insert one screw at a time. So I'll have the one screw here and then I'll go inside and then I'll place it in the first hole. Okay, push it through, and then get my hardware in place, and then we will screw it down. Let me get my screwdriver back. Okay. Okay. All right. So I get that in part of the way, and then get another screw, and then add that in. Put that into the other side. Come on, little screw. Get in there. I'm just using the stiletto because I make the holes just a tiny bit smaller so that they don't, become too loose over time. So, okay, so now we get it and tighten them in. You can add some Loctite there too. I'm going to put a piece of duct tape over that. So now we have the first connector installed. I'll go ahead, add the second one, and we'll come back. We got both of our connectors on. So now what I've done is I've run double-sided tape around the edge, the inside edge, because we're going to fold that down. Remember the line that we drew earlier, the 1-inch line. So we're going to fold down to that 1-inch line because this is going to be a drop-in lining. So let me pull some of the double-sided tape off and just start folding down to that 1-inch line. Alrighty. Just about there. Let's get it back on this side. Alright, so now we have, okay, so now the next step is to, she says if you make marks here, 1 3/4 inches from each seam. So we're going to make a mark there, 1 right there. Okay, and 1 right here. Okay. And that's where you're going to pinch, okay, to give the bag its shape. Okay. And it's going to pull in more too when we add that divider pocket. So we just, while we work on our lining, we'll keep this clipped to kind of hold the shape. So pinching in at those 2 marks, just like that. Okay. Oh, so cute. So cute, so cute. I love it. Okay. Okay. Even with my little rivet and the bow, I still, okay. I still love it. Okay. So that's that. All right, so now we'll just leave that. We'll leave that clipped for now, and we'll get ready to do the lining. Okay, so let's just put that to the side. You can admire it later. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and do the lining.